89-year-old Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens says that he will announce in the next few weeks whether he will be retiring this year. This would give President Obama his second chance to leave his administration's mark on the U.S. Supreme Court. For a look at the politics behind this potential decision, let's bring in Bloomberg News' executive editor, Al Hunt. Good morning to you, Al.
Morning, Margaret.
It sounds like this retirement may be happening. What do we know about possible replacements? Who's in the running here?
Well, we know, courtesy of Bloomberg's Greg Stewart, that the White House has a list of at least 3 possible replacements. Appellate court judges Diane Wood of Chicago and Merrick, Garland in the U.S. court here in Washington, and the Solicitor General Elena Kagan. There may be more, but we know those 3 are at the top of any list.
So if any of those 3 do end up replacing Justice Stevens, I mean, how will that influence the high court? How will this reflect the administration's views here?
It probably won't change it much, Margaret. Stevens is very squarely in the progressive wing, if you will, of the court, with Justice Breyer, Ginsburg, and Sotomayor. And all 3 of these possible replacements would likely be in that camp, too. They say you can't predict how a judge with a lifetime appointment will behave, and that's true, but the betting would be that they would be very much in the Stevens mold.
Mm-hmm. We did learn over the weekend as well, Al, that Treasury Secretary Geithner has decided to delay the decision about whether or not to label China a currency manipulator. Did that decision to delay do anything to quiet those voices in Congress, Senator Schumer, Senator Graham?
No, not much. I think there's still going to be a lot of pressure from the Schumers and Grahams, who are normally rather sensible economic thinkers. But on this issue, there's a lot of heat at home, 9.7% unemployment rate, huge trade deficit with China. So I think they'll keep the heat on, but I don't think the administration is going to relent.
So it does seem, though, or the suggestion has been made, that this was not simply just a currency-related decision to delay here. We do have that nuclear summit happening on April the 12th. Right. Was there any kind of quid pro quo here as to what drove the delay?
Well, probably not an implicit quid pro quo, but certainly that was there. You don't invite Hu Jintao here on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week to talk about cooperation with Iran and North Korea and other issues, and then on Wednesday and Thursday say, oh, by the way, he's a dirty currency manipulator. So I certainly think that was the context of this. And this administration's economic policy centerpiece over the next 5 years is to double exports. China, I think, is our biggest export market. You can't have a trade war with China if you want to achieve that economic objective.
So what can we expect on April the 12th when the Chinese premier does come here? I mean, what's going to come out of that nuclear summit?
Well, I think Iran will be front and center, and if we get some kind of cooperation with the Chinese and the Russians, it may be that we can do really more serious sanctions than we've ever been able to do in the past. That's a huge if. But I think that will be the focus of a great deal of what occurs on April 12th and 13th, when leaders from all over the world will be in Washington.
So, Al, I know this is a hot topic for you at home. Are you a Duke or are you a Butler fan?
Margaret, I'm gonna desert our ACC. I'm gonna go home early tonight. I'm gonna rewatch Hoosiers, get inspired by Gene Hackman, and cheer for the Butler Bulldogs. But don't you dare tell my very Blue Devil loyal wife about that.
Well, it'll be our secret. Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Al, for joining us.